Thank you, Pascal, and thank you to everyone for having me here. I'm very excited to be sharing this week with you because it's around attacking strategies in football and how throw-ins can be used to create goal scoring opportunities. So first of all, which we probably all know because you're in football, a throw-in is a set play which gives a team an opportunity to restart play with an uncontested pass, right? And uncontested is something I want to highlight because it's an opportunity to start play for the team to start play on their own terms, which is something I think is important to highlight. So we realize that generally a team can expect to have about 21 throw-ins in a game, right? Of which 7 of them are in the final third, closer to the opponent's goal, which most likely means that there's an opportunity for a team to make 7 throw-ins closer to the opponent's goal, with an opportunity to possibly convert those throw-ins into goal scoring opportunities. So in this presentation, I'll be focusing on throw-ins that are progressive, right? Throw-ins that are thrown higher up into the field, and throw-ins that start in the final third. So I'll be focusing on throw-ins that there's a possibility of converting them to chances. And I'll also be focusing on throw-ins that sort of passages of play which originate from these throw-ins. That's one. But at the same time are ended by a defensive action, which is probably the defending team ending it with a tackle, with an aerial duel, or the ball going out of play through the ball going out of play for probably a throw-in for a goal kick, or the referee having to stop play for probably a foul. Or lastly, a passage of play originated from throwing that ends in a chance being created. So goals, penalties, shots, and missed chances. Missed chances, these are passages of play that end in the player with the ball not taking a shot, even though they had an opportunity to take a shot. Um, that was an example of the kinds of throw-ins I'll be focusing on here. Throw-ins that start passages of the kind of passages of play I'll be focusing on. Sorry, so passages of play that start from throw-ins and end in all these acts in defensive, stoppages of play, or chances being created. Right. Yes. So now I had a look at the 2018-2019 EPL season, right? And a look at the progressive throw-ins and how each team is able to create chances out of them. And you realize that the top teams that are able to create chances from throw-ins are doing so at about 10% of their throw-ins. Right? 10% means 1 in 10 of their throw-ins in the final third are being converted to chances. So this shows that there's a possibility of teams really improving the frequency with which they convert their throw-ins into chances, because 10% shows that there's a bit of room for improvement there. Then I also had a look at throwing teams that are able to make throw-ins in which their teammates are able to receive the ball. And one thing that really surprised me about this in particular was Cardiff City, because you realize compared to generally teams are able to retain the ball in more than 50% of the time, but Cardiff City was less than 50%. And one main reason I found out about this, one main explanation around this was the fact that they mainly use long throw-ins in regardless of the location of the pitch, right? Even if they are in their defensive third, what they do is they normally like to make very long throw-ins higher up into the field. Even if they are in the final third, they normally want to make throw-ins into the opponent's box, right? So this reduces the chance of they retaining the ball, and that explains. So that's an outline. That's very interesting, right? So why does all this matter? I'll be frank and say this is not any revolutionary idea, but I think it's an opportunity for coaches to spot some of these opportunities in throw-ins and train their players around some of these strategies to be able to get a bit more opportunities from these throw-ins. So what I did was to divide throw-ins into what I did was to divide throw-ins into attacking and defensive strategies, right? For the attacking side of things, I grouped it into mixed throwing strategies and consistent throwing strategies. Now, the differentiating thing here was the end location of these final third throws, right? If they are in a very large portion of the field, if they end up in a very large portion of the field, I categorize them to be mixed throwing. And if all the throw-ins of a particular team ends up in a very small portion of the field, I classified it to be a consistent throwing. And the metric I used for this was the standard deviation of the location on the pitch that these throw-ins ended up, right? So if the standard deviation of the strategy is more than the league average, I considered it to be mixed, and anything below that was consistent. Then for the defensive side of things, I divided into aggressive and non-aggressive. Aggressive throw-ins are throw-ins where the defending team is able to defend the throw-in through aerial duels or tackling or interceptions, that kind of stuff. Then non-aggressive ones are ones where they are not able to defend them through aggression in any form. Then for the actual throw-ins that the teams made, I separated them by speed and length. So some of them I categorized them as fast, some of them very slow, some of them long, some of them short. But in subsequent slides, I'll be explaining how I divided the throws based on types. So based on types, anything in the 40-meter radius, I classify it to be short, right? And anything outside of that radius, I classified it to be long. Then for speed, Liverpool's throwing coach once said the optimal time to take a throw-in is 5 seconds of the ball going out of play. So I used this definition from Liverpool's throwing coach as a benchmark, right? So any throwing that is made 5 seconds or less, I classify it to be a very quick, a fast throwing, and anything more than that, I classified it to be slow. Now for the attacking strategies, which I divided into consistent and mixed. This is an example of a game from the 2018-2019 EPL season, right? In this particular game, you realize that Crystal Palace had a very consistent throwing because most of their throw-ins were into a specific part of the field compared to their opponents, which was Leicester City, and realized that some of which deployed a mixed strategy, some of their throw-ins were to the penalty box, somewhere along the lines. This is a clear pictorial view of these strategies. Now, so the next slide, which I happen to just show you, that will be an example of how I classify throw-ins into defensive and non-aggressive and aggressive. So that will be a video example. So that was an example of an aggressively defended throw-in, right? You realize that the player receiving the ball, which was Troy Dean, a Watford player, was being aggressively tackled behind him by a West Ham player, right? So for such a throw-in, I'll classify it to be an aggressive throw-in. If there was no one tackling him or anything, or he received the ball under no pressure, I'll classify it to be a non-aggressive throwing. On to the analysis. So what I did was I had a look at if the type of throwings teams use, right? If there's a more likelihood of some of them resulting in goal scoring opportunities and some of them not resulting in goal scoring opportunities. But what I did was to adjust for sorry. What I did was to adjust for team quality, right? So that I removed the effect of possibly if say as a team like Man City, there's a possibility that they are creating more chances from throw-ins, not because they have more chance of them, but it's simply because they are a very good team. So I remove that team quality effect so that I'll be able to compare teams along the same base, right? And you realize that one thing you realize is that speed is very important, because slow and long throws and slow and short throws, for both of them, they resulted in less chances of these throws resulting in goal scoring opportunities. The main thing here is the importance of speed, right? But one thing we also realize is that it means teams will need to be able to spot some of these opportunities, to be able to take their throw-ins very quickly if they are to convert them into goal scoring opportunities. At the same time, too, they will need to be able to spot these opportunities, because there's a possibility you quickly take any throw-in very quickly, and it will rather put your defense under pressure instead of the opponent's team. So it's important to be aware when to throw throw-ins quickly. This further pictorial view of the relationship between the time the throwing is taken, how long you take to take a throwing, and the possibility of it resulting in chances. So you realize that as you are taking longer, generally the percentage of those throw-ins resulting in chances reduces, right? Then I also had a look at the attacking and defensive strategies that teams use, and if it affects the possibility of these throw-ins resulting in goal scoring opportunities or not. At the same time, too, I adjusted for team quality to remove that effect. And you realize that for teams that deploy aggressive defending strategies, generally they're able to reduce the possibility of those throw-ins resulting in goal scoring opportunities. Sorry. Regardless of the type of attacking throwing strategy that was deployed. So for this particular slide, it's sends home the importance of aggressively defending throw-ins if you are to restrict them from getting chances from them. Now on to the practical application of it. For this particular practical application, it sends home the fact that fast throw-ins are very important if you are to catch defenses which are unsettled, or defenses that are deployed in a very low block, right? In the sense that for some teams, they normally like to deploy very low blocks and very close compact defensive blocks, but quickly taking throw-ins might be able to catch them unawares, and which creates opportunities for you to explode. An example I'll be using would be Sergio Aurier's throwing for Spurs versus Olympiacos in the Champions League. This was one where the ball boy quickly returned the ball to Sergio Aurier and was able to take a quick throw-in, right? So I'll be showing a video example of it. So that was an example of the importance of speed in creating chances from throw-ins, right? Now, as another practical application, throw-ins can probably be used as a form of press triggers, right? If they are to help in restricting these throw-ins in the final third from being advanced into goal scoring opportunities. So this example is from Bayer Leverkusen versus Borussia Dortmund, where anytime Borussia Dortmund try taking a throw in the final third, Bayer Leverkusen uses as a form of press trigger to press them and win the ball back, right? So it means there's a possibility of doing trainings like this in before matches to be able to press the opponent to prevent their throws from being converted to goal scoring opportunities. And I'll show you an example of that too. So that was an example of using throw-ins as a form of press triggers, right? And for the third tactical application, this one is from Liverpool, and how they're able to create chances from throw-ins by reducing the possibility of the opponent aggressively trying to defend their throw-ins. So what they do is they normally like to do that through movements, and someone like Jonathan is very good at that. So for this particular example, what they do is they try restricting Watford from receiving the ball by blocking other players who might want to tackle the receiving player, and they're able to convert that into goal scoring opportunities, even from their defensive third. And this is something they do a lot and something they are good at. And I think this sort of drives home the point of having a coach whose specific job is to help the team create opportunities from throw-ins, which more teams should be able to adopt. So the key takeaways, right? Firstly, it shows the importance of taking speed into consideration when kickstarting play from throw-ins, right? But I think it's important to stress the point that it means there's a possibility that all the players will need to be equipped to be able to take very precise throw-ins, right? Because once you're able to take precise throw-ins, it means it increases the possibility of you being able to retain the ball, you being able to also spot some of these opportunities to take them quickly, right? Then it also brings home the fact that defending throw-ins and being very aggressive in defending it is something which can help in reducing the possibility of some of these throw-ins resulting in chances. Then generally, with the low amount of throws that are resulting in goals, I think it drives home the fact that they are underutilized in football currently, and it's something more coaches can probably take an advantage of. So, as a future form of research, something which I think would be interesting to look at would be to measure clever throw-ins, right? So these are throw-ins that are made to someone who is making an unexpected run, right? A run where the opponent doesn't expect you to make, but the player making the throw is able to identify his teammates who are making such runs, which probably creates space for the player to receive the ball without much pressure. And also clever throw-ins that are made in a form where the player receives the ball is able to receive the ball under pressure, right? So it means these throw-ins will need to be very precise, right? Directly into the player's feet, and not something where the player may need to chest it first before bringing the ball under control. What it means is that if they're able to receive the ball under pressure in a place like the front end, it means there's a greater chance of they being able to pass the ball and later convert into chances, or even retain it at all, because once they're able to retain it, it prevents the other team from retaining it and converting into a chance for themselves. Then, whilst using an understanding of clever throw-ins to try and understand if this makes in goal scoring opportunities at all in some throw-ins, right? And this is something that Liverpool's throwing coach has been pioneering, and I think it's very clear in some of the results Liverpool are achieving from throw-ins. So I would like to send some quick thanks to Dan Altman, Lucy Rashton, and Jonathan Whitmore for their helpful feedback in putting this presentation together. Yes, so I'd like to thank you all once again for having me to be able to share my work with you. Thank you.
Thank you.